Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Orange County. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday, and we're glad that you're joining us this Sunday. I always like to take the time to recognize all the people that make this service possible. We have Bill on piano, and Tom is on sound, and John streaming, and Christopher on the camera, and Reverend Annie is our platform person. And we like to begin with our mission statement and our vision statement. So if you would join us together, our vision is centered in divine love. We joyfully co create a world that works for all. And our mission is to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. So, this is the last week for your opportunity to buy your tickets for our non event. It's $25 a ticket. You can buy as many tickets as you want. You can pay for them by texting 77977. Unity of OC Give is the message. Or you can mail it to us, or you can do it on our donation page on our website. But we appreciate it, and this is the last chance you get to do it in this year. And talking about that, this year, this is unusual, in 2020, as a result of the coronavirus, there was a law passed. It was the March 2020 Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, known as the CARES Act. And one of the provisions of this act was to allow taxpayers who do not itemize their taxes the ability to deduct up to $300 in cash donations made to a charity in 2020. So, if you don't itemize and you haven't taken advantage of that, this is the last week that you can do that, and we would love it if you would give it to us. But anyone else you want to give it to, then I think it's a good chance to take advantage of that. Also, we have a lot of new classes coming in 2021. We have a new class beginning January 6th, based on the book Living Originally by Robert Brummett, and it's going to be from 6:30 to 8, and it's going to be on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. And the first class, Robert Brummett is going to be on there. He's the author of the book. It's a Zoom class, and he's actually going to be there. And he was one of my teachers. He's a fabulous person, so you don't want to miss that class. And then beginning on the first Sunday, which is January 3rd, the first and third Sundays, we're going to be having a spiritual discussion group via Zoom at 11 o'clock. And it's going to be based on the book, The Quest, Adventures on the Quest by Richard and Mary Alice Jaffola. There's actually two books. There's the book and the companion book. You really only need the companion book because the companion book has all the exercises and stuff that you're going to be doing. This is a great class. If you want to know anything at all about unity, this book is it. It used to be a requirement for ministerial and licensed unity teachers because it really does take in everything and it does it in a very easy way to understand. So please join us for that discussion. It's not really a class, it's a discussion group. And we hope to see you on Zoom then. All of our Zoom classes have the same ID. So you don't have to remember next year what ID is for what class. We've made it simple and you don't need a password. And so we have a lot of great things coming up next year. We hope you join us. And right now I'd like to introduce Reverend Annie for our daily word.
The daily word for today, Sunday, December 27th, 2020, is release. The affirmation, I take the best and leave the rest. My experiences of this past year have brought me gifts of insight, new perspectives, many chances to grow and stretch myself, and perhaps the opportunity to develop a skill that serves me in my work or brings greater enjoyment to my leisure time. Some experiences have been painful or difficult. These too have offered their gift. I accept all that has come my way. With gratitude, I bless it all. I find the gifts and release what no longer serves my growth. Assured that God is my dependable source, I release any pain or financial setback. In the joy of restored health, I release any memory of illness. Grateful for all modes of connection, I release any pain of loneliness. I move forward, feeling lighter, cleansed, and renewed for my journey forward. And the scripture reading is from Isaiah chapter 43 and 18. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. And as we just move into the meditation, we can take solace in knowing that there is a power, there is a presence, and there's an activity within each and every one of us that is unlimited. This power and this creative force created us out of his own image and likeness. And how good it is for us to remember at this moment in time and this point in space, we can take a page from our body. Our body knows exactly how much air to take in. The cells know exactly how much oxygen it needs. And it gently and lovingly releases that which it does not need. It releases the stagnant oxygen. And so knowing that we are endowed with the power, the presence, the activity, and the permission to come and rest in the knowing that at any moment in time, any point in space, we can release that which no longer serves us. And as we come together with that attitude of releasing and letting go, let us know that there's nothing to fear, and we can release all fear. There's nothing to resent. We can release all resentment. There's no need to blame. We can just give up the blame. We can give up the sadness. We can give up the sorrow. And we can rest in the knowing that each of these situations and circumstances has brought to us an opportunity to be here at this moment in time and this point in space. And we can just say, right here and right now, I release anything that does not serve my highest and best good. I release anything that is not consistent with my belief and who I am and what I have the power to do. And when those times come, when I feel the burden and the memory of times past, when I remember my family and loved ones who have already transitioned into a new way of being, I take comfort in knowing that my Holy Father, the Holy Presence, has made me a promise. And that promise said, all ye that are labored, come unto me, and I will give you rest. So I rest in the knowing that there is nothing to fear. I rest in the knowing that God is my infinite, abundant, and constant source and supply. And so as we move into this moment of quiet and contemplation, we know that we are safe, we are secure, we are loved, and we are one with the living Spirit Almighty. And so it is.
Thank you, Bill. So, yes, it's the end of the year. It's the end of 2020, if you can believe it. It seems like it's taken us 5 years to get here. When I think of 2020, I'm a big Charles Dickens fan, and my favorite Charles Dickens book is A Tale of Two Cities. And as Charles Dickens says in A Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And I think that sentence is so apropos for 2020. I mean, in this year, we've had raging fires in Australia, locusts in Kenya, the big hornet or something was discovered in Washington in October. We've had racial unrest, we've had riots, we've had police brutality, we've had, I mean, and then on top of everything else, we have this virus, which has just overtaken the entire world and changed people's lives. Beside the fact that millions have died from it, it has changed everybody's life. It has changed the economy. And it's really easy to just get like really despondent and to get really depressed or down about this year. But like Charles Dickens said, it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. There's also a lot of good that has come out of 2020. I know for me personally, I belong to a spiritual fellowship, and I've been able to go to Zoom meetings all over the world. And I have met people that I would not meet otherwise, have developed friendship with people I would not have met otherwise. I've also renewed friendships with people in Florida that I haven't spoken to or seen for in years. And I get to see my best friend in Atlanta like regularly, and not just talk on the phone, but I get to see her and we get to be in a group together and have spiritual discussions together. And so there's a lot of good that's come out of it. And I often think I'm going to miss all of that. But on the other side, I miss all of you. And I know that 2020, my hope for 2021 is that we can all be back together again. But like I said, it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. And so we have to look at this year and ask ourselves, you know, where are we? Now, usually this time of the year, our last service on Sunday, we do a burning bowl, we do a white stone. This year we're going to do a little bit different, but I want to give you the opportunity to release, because it's important at the end of something to release that which we don't want. So the first thing that we always have to release is unforgiveness. Any unforgiveness we hold against anyone else. You know, forgiveness is a key. We can't move forward in a positive way as long as we are holding on to resentments and unforgiveness in the past. It weighs us down, and it really keeps us from our good. So there was a high school teacher who did this experiment with a class. It's called the potato experiment. And what he had them do is he had his students bring in potatoes, and he had a bunch of potatoes there with the plastic bags. And he told them to put a potato in the bag for everybody that they resented or had some unforgiveness to. And so they loaded up their plastic bags with potatoes, and then he told them that they had to carry these potatoes around all the time. Everything that they did, they had to have this bag of potatoes that they were carrying around. Well, as the weeks went on, the potatoes got pretty rotten, and they started stinking and smelling, and the bag got heavier and heavier. And they were all complaining because they were carrying around this bag of stinky, heavy potatoes. And finally, the teacher said to them, he said, "You can put the bags down." And then he explained to them that the potatoes represent all that negativity that we hold on to us. Not just the unforgiveness, but all the negativity, our negative thoughts, our emotions, all of that. We carry it around with us, and it begins to weigh on us. And that weight gets heavier and heavier the longer we carry it around with us. And so we have to release that. We have to let that go, because it's just too much for one person to handle. You know, the things that we accumulate in life tend to weigh us down. So there is this movie, Up in the Air, with George Clooney, and he plays this person who, for a living, travels all over the world and gives these talks on life, traveling, and all of that. And he gives this lecture called "What is in Your Backpack?" And this is him giving this talk.
How much does your life weigh? Imagine for a second that you're carrying a backpack. I want you to feel the straps on your shoulders. You feel them? I want you to pack it with all the stuff that you have in your life. You start with the little things, the things on shelves and in drawers, the knickknacks, the collectibles. Feel the weight as that adds up. You start adding larger stuff. Clothes, tabletop appliances, lamps, linens, your TV. Backpack should be getting pretty heavy now. You go bigger. Your couch, your bed, your kitchen table, you stuff it all in there. Your car, get it in there. Your home, whether it's a studio apartment or a 2-bedroom house, I want you to stuff it all into that backpack. Now try to walk. It's kind of hard, isn't it? This is what we do to ourselves on a daily basis. We weigh ourselves down until we can't even move. And make no mistake, moving is living. Now, I'm going to set that backpack on fire. What do you want to take out of it? Photos? Photos are for people who can't remember. Drink some ginkgo and let the photos burn. In fact, let everything burn and imagine waking up tomorrow with nothing. It's kind of exhilarating, isn't it?
So we carry all this stuff with us. A lot of it is internal, a lot of it is emotional, but a lot of it is our attachment to external things. And, he says at the end, what would happen if in the morning you had nothing there? Well, years ago, I was in the insurance business, and very often I had to deal with people who lost everything. Usually it was from fire. I mean, they lost all their photos, they lost everything. Everything was gone. They actually walk away with absolutely nothing from their previous life. But the thing that's interesting is that if they walk out and they are safe and they are okay, then that really is the most important thing. So as we look at going forward to the next year, it isn't a matter of what we may have lost in 2020 or what we may have gained in 2020. As far as outside stuff, it's what we lost and gained internally. Like before you talk about all the things that were bad in 2020, ask yourself this: what did you gain in 2020? Maybe it was developing a new skill. Maybe it was picking up a hobby that you hadn't done in a long time. We were talking earlier, maybe it's having Zoom parties. Getting together with relatives in a Zoom party. This morning, it was one of my daughter-in-law's birthday, and my son threw a surprise Zoom party for her. We all got on Zoom, and then they brought her in, and everyone yelled surprise, and there got to be people at that party that wouldn't have been there if it had been a real party. So I want you to think about that when you think about 2020, because I hear so often all people do is talk about the negativity. And that negativity wears us down, and it doesn't allow us to move forward in 2021 with a clean slate. There's something about starting anew that is best if we aren't dragging with us all the stuff from the past, if we don't have that backpack filled with those rotten, nasty potatoes that don't get any more pleasant as they last. So one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to do a little exercise. So normally what we do on the last Sunday is I have you write down anything that you want to release. It can be anybody you need to forgive. It could be any habits that you have that you don't want to carry into the new year. So what I'd like you to do is to get a pencil and a piece of paper while Bill plays some music, and then get ready to do a little writing. So go get your supplies and come back in a minute. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece of paper and this pen or pencil, and I want you to start writing down whatever it is you want to release, whatever it is you don't want to carry forth in the new year. You know, the new year is about new beginnings. We don't need the old stuff. We need to start with a clean slate. You know, the psalmist said, God, create in me a clean heart. And that's what we want. And then what I'm going to ask you to do, if you live in the area locally, you can drive by the church. We're going to have a little burning bowl out on the street, and you can do a drive-by and drop your stuff into the fire and just say a little affirmation. If you don't live near the church, I invite you to, after you write it, to get a candle and get a fireproof bowl or a fireplace or something that you're not going to create a fire in your house, and to take what you've written and to burn it. Now, if you want to be a little bit more creative, you can take what you've written, attach it to a balloon, and let that go into the universe. But there's something powerful about burning it in a fire. So I'm going to just give you a minute or so and invite you to write down what it is you want to release. So another important thing is when we release something, we need to replace it with something positive. You know, the universe abhors a vacuum. That means that if we let something go and we don't replace it with something positive, anything can come in. So it is important when we release what we don't want to attract what we do want. So the other thing is, and you don't have to do this right now, is I invite you to get a piece of paper, another piece of paper, and a pen, and 2 envelopes. One is a self-addressed envelope, and the other is a blank envelope. And on the piece of paper, I want you to write your intentions for the new year. What you would like to see the new year bring to you. What it could be things like jobs or a car, but I really want you to think more about what helps us in our spiritual growth. Maybe it's more humility. Maybe it's more compassion. Maybe it's being of service more to other people. What is it that can fill your soul? Fill your soul so that your soul really has an opportunity to grow and expand. That's going to replace all that negativity that you're releasing. So you can do that on your own time, but I'd like you, before you do that, to meditate a little bit on it and ask for guidance, because what we set our intentions at for a new year is often what we find we achieve in a new year. An assignment that a mentor of mine gave me that's a really great end of the year assignment was she told me to write down all my accomplishments for the year that was ending. Little ones, big ones, it didn't matter. Write down all the accomplishments because what that did is allowed me to see the good in that year as opposed to the negativity. And I think that's important in this year to write down like a gratitude list of all the things that happened good in 2020 because we're getting rid of all the negative. But I want you to write down all the things that were good that happened in 2020. And then write down on another piece of paper your intentions for 2020. What you'd like to see come 2021, I mean. And then you're going to send that list to us at Unity of Orange County. And then we're going to mail it back to you months later. Because I'll tell you what happens when that happens is we often find that what we set our intentions on is what we have drawn to us in our life. Going into a new year with no intentions is like going on a road trip and having no idea where you're going. You might get where you want to get, but you're going to go down a lot of wrong roads trying to get there. And maybe that trip would normally only take an hour. That trip is going to take you hours. And that's how it goes when we go into a new year. If we don't set our intentions for that year, we might get what we want, but we're going to be going round in circles trying to get there. So what we're doing today is we're releasing what we don't want and we are putting down what we do want. And that way we end the year on a positive note and begin the new year with a positive note. So take this time and I invite you to close your eyes. And to take a few deep breaths. And whatever you call your God of your understanding, to call on that God. Maybe you find it within you. Maybe you find it in the trees. Now take a moment to envision yourself rising above any troubled state that you might have been in or have been in. And letting go of any preconceived ideas and releasing any perceived unhappiness or any unforgiveness. And deciding and declaring that we are not bound by our personal consciousness, but by lifting up our thoughts and our minds to something greater than us. We tap into a higher consciousness. We tap into a creative source. And we give our attention to that source and dedicate our activities to that source. And we do this every day by connecting with that source first thing in the day. And then spending time in communication, asking, what is it ours to do? You know, people say they don't know what they're supposed to do in life, what their purpose is. We're always looking for the big answers. But God often talks to us with the little answers. Things like being kind to others, being compassionate, being gentle, being of service. It is through those kind of things that we really want to be remembered for. Because when all is said and done, that is the only kind of thing we can always take with us. A fire can't burn it. A disease can't put a stop to it. Storms can't blow it away, because it is that within us. And that which is within us is eternal. It has been with our soul before we appeared on this earth. And it will continue with our souls as we move on. And in truth, that is what we are remembered for. And so we say, thank you, God, for the things of spirit that are without beginning or end. And so it is. Amen. Bill, thank you. And here at Unity, we like to affirm our 5 basic principles as a way of us just remembering what it is that we believe here at Unity of Orange County. So you're welcome to join us in your homes. First, God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. And 2, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. And 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. And 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And 5, I do and give my best by living the truth that I know I make a difference. And you do make a difference. You not only make a difference in the lives of everyone you come in contact with, but you make a difference in this church community. We would not be here today at the end of this year if it wasn't for your generous gifts. And we appreciate those gifts. And we ask that you continue, if it's up to you, to give those gifts. You can do it by text to 77977 and put Unity of OC Give. You can put it on our website under donations, through our app, or you can mail it to us. Any way you give the gifts, we appreciate it. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support throughout 2020. I know it hasn't been an easy year for many of you, but by continuing to support us through attending Zoom classes and watching us on YouTube and sending us the donations, you have made it possible that we are here at the end of 2020 and we are still able to carry our message to you and that you are still able to watch us. So thank you so much, because we know that through our actions is how we really live this truth in our world today. And so let us now affirm our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a safe and happy New Year, and see you in 2021. God bless.